So hello guys, so now we shall be discussing regarding the submental triangle. We shall see what are the structures that are located beneath the mandible here. Okay, so a topic of discussion would be regarding the submental triangle. So what are the structures that are associated with the submental triangle? So what do you mean by mental process? Mental process is a process that is present beneath the mandible here, right? So first we will draw the inferior surface of the mandible and then we'll draw the structures that are related with that. Okay. So if you look at the inferior surface of the mandible, this is how the mandible looks. Right. So this is your inferior surface of your mandible. Now let me draw this part of the mandible little bit wider here, like this. Okay, let me completely change the mandible. Right. So in this inferior surface of the mandible, you know that this is the head, this is the process over here. Right. So here we have got this teeth. These teeth are called as your mandibular teeth. So all of you know that these are your mandibular teeth like this. Okay. So this is the inferior surface of your mandible. Now after that, down here we will draw one more bone, and this bone over here would be your hyoid bone. So this particular bone over here is called as your hyoid bone. Okay. Now on either sides of the hyoid bone here, you have got a ring, a fibrinous ring over here, okay, through which the muscle passes. So the first important thing I want to tell you is that there is a muscle that is starting from the inferior surface of the hyoid bone all the way like this, right? And this muscle is having a ring like structure, I mean a tendon like structure. This tendon passes through this ring in this way, okay? And finally what is happening, this muscle all the way it goes and attaches, right? So this muscle goes and attaches to your styloid process or to your mastoid process, right? So this muscle over here which I have drawn just now, this is what is called as your which muscle? What is the name of this muscle? The name of this muscle is your digastric muscle. So within this digastric muscle, actually there are two bellies of digastric muscle. Okay. So what are the two bellies of digastric muscle? Here this belly over here is called as an anterior belly of digastric muscle, and this one over here is called as a posterior belly of your digastric muscle. Okay. So there are two bellies, anterior belly as well as a posterior belly. So let me draw one more thing. You see this muscle over here? So this muscle over here is your digastric muscle. So this digastric muscle is having a tendon which goes all the way like this. This is the muscle over here. So this muscle is also your digastric muscle. So again, one is called as a, what is this? One is called as the anterior belly of digastric and the other one is posterior belly of your digastric. So this one over here is your anterior belly, and this one over here is your posterior belly. And what is the name of this muscle? The name of this muscle is your digastric muscle. Digastric muscle. Clear? Now after discussing this digastric muscle, if you look here in the center we have got a line. Okay, exactly in the center we have got a line. Okay, so this line which is located in the center is called as median raphe. Right, you see this line in the center. So this line in the center all the way from the mental process over here, all the way it is coming down and attaching to the center of your hyoid bone, right? So this is your hyoid bone. So this particular structure over here is called as your median raphe. This is called as your median raphe. Okay. Now what I am telling you is that on either side of the median raphe you have got one more muscle. Okay, so all of you look here, see on either side of the median raphe you see this muscle. So this muscle which is located on either side of the median raphe is what is called as your mylohyoid muscle. What is this muscle? This muscle over here is called as your mylohyoid muscle. Okay, so the same mylohyoid muscle is also located on the opposite side. You see there is another muscle on the opposite side. So this muscle which is located on the opposite side is also called as your mylohyoid muscle. Okay, so what is this muscle? This muscle over here is called as your mylohyoid muscle. Mylohyoid muscle. Okay, so this is your mylohyoid muscle. Now this particular triangle which you can see over here, okay, let me draw this. You see this particular triangle which you can see over here, this triangle is called as your submental triangle. So if I ask you, the floor of the submental triangle is formed by what? The floor of the submental triangle is formed by your mylohyoid muscle, right? Next, if I ask you what is the superior surface here, superior surface is the inferior border of your what? Inferior border of your mandible. And down here what do you have? You have got hyoid bone. And laterally what do you have? You have got the anterior belly of the digastric. Now first of all, let us write down the border. So this triangle is your submental triangle. Okay, so first of all what we'll do is that we shall write down what are the contents that are located within this submental triangle. For example, you see there are 4 important structures which I'm drawing over here. Not 4, there are actually many. Okay, so these structures over here are called as your submental lymph nodes. So what are these structures over here? These structures over here are called as your submental lymph nodes. So these structures over here are called as your submental lymph nodes. Okay, now after the submental lymph nodes are drawn, on either side you have got 2 more veins. But before I draw these 2 more veins, you should know one very important thing, that here you have got plexus. Okay, you have got many veins. So these veins are called as submental veins. Okay, these veins are called as submental veins. So all these veins, what is happening? The submental lymph nodes, whatever they collect, whatever fluid they collect, this fluid is drained into this submental plexus. So all these veins together collectively they enter into another important vein like this. Okay, so this particular vein which I am drawing right now is called as your submental vein. So all these veins together they collect in what vein? What is this? This is called as your submental vein. And this particular submental vein, whatever is there, this in turn will collect into another important vein like this. Okay, so what is this vein? This vein is called as facial vein. So where is the submental vein collecting? The submental vein is collecting into your facial vein like this. Okay, so the submental vein is collecting into your which vein? It is collecting into your facial vein. Submental vein is collecting into your facial vein. Okay, now once after it has got collected into your facial vein, there are 2 more veins. So even these submental veins, they also drain into 2 more important veins. You see, this is one vein over here, this is another vein over here. These veins are called as internal jugular veins. And what are the names of these veins? This vein over here is called as your facial vein. And after that, what is this vein? This vein is called as your submental vein. Okay, so what are the structures that are located within the submental triangle? Within the submental triangle, first we have got is the submental lymph nodes. Next we have got is the plexus here, submental plexus. And after that we have got is the submental vein. We have got the facial vein, right, and internal jugular vein. So these are the structures that are located within your submental triangle. Okay, so thank you so much for watching my video. Goodbye.